So,
I like Power Black.
so
You know how bad
I'm asking you job and name.
you.
Right. My name is Bob Tatum, and I'm currently a teacher at Oregon Virtual Academy,
Son,
and I'm teaching manufacturing engineering classes and some computer literacy.
What was your job?
Well, in one of my former jobs that we're talking about today, I was the emergency preparedness manager at Harrisburg School District. Harrisburg is a very small district between Corvallis and Eugene, and it only has 3 schools: one elementary school, one middle, and one high school. And they received a grant, a federal grant, to update their emergency preparedness efforts, if you will. And I was hired to accomplish that. And so part of the grant, and the grant kind of spelled out what we had to do, more or less. And so my job was I had to identify all the known hazards around the school that the school faced and prepare for those hazards. Develop written policies and procedures on how staff would handle various emergencies. And I had to purchase all the needed supplies that the school might need during a disaster or emergency. And I coordinated all the necessary training for staff. And I also worked with the U.S. Department of Education on submitting all of the grant paperwork back to the federal government, making sure we did everything we were supposed to.
What was your work environment like?
Well, it was a great job. Even though I was a district employee, I worked mostly from home on my computer, but I attended lots of meetings, both at the school and with other what I'd call stakeholders in our emergency planning process. And those stakeholders included like the local fire department, the county sheriff, the city manager, other emergency managers from local businesses, and many others. And so it was really coordinating with other services and things. I needed to know what their plans were, and they needed to know what our plans were. And I reported directly to the district superintendent, and he was very supportive.
Was it hard to get your job?
Well, this is an interesting question, because as with any job, the first thing you need to accomplish is to get a job interview. Okay. And there were certain things on my resume, and I had certain experiences that I think helped me get the interview and then ultimately the job. I already had years of management experience, and I had military experience, including some safety in the military, safety training experience. And I was currently working on my master's degree in crisis and emergency management at the time. So I think all of those things combined with just being a generally nice guy helped me get the job. Now, having said that, I don't want anyone to think that they need a master's degree in emergency management to get a job in the emergency management or safety field. There are lots, but you do need some training. So there are lots of 2-year and 4-year degrees in safety or emergency management field. And I use both of those, safety and emergency management. They overlap. There's no question that they overlap, but they are different. And the bigger the organization you get, they're going to have different people doing it. In a small organization, they may have the same person doing both safety and emergency management. But so there are shorter degrees, like I said, 2-year degree, and those are great. Okay, I don't want to discount those at all. But an employer's also looking for soft skills, and those are often even more important than your technical skills. And soft skills are like communication, your punctuality, how well you get along with other people, right? Are you friendly? Can you think and talk on your feet? And you need to be hardworking and fairly intelligent. Okay. And the other thing you need to be willing to do is you need to be willing to move where the jobs are located. So that's just a fact of life, that if you're in a smaller town, where I live, there's going to be fewer job opportunities in emergency management than, say, in Portland. Okay. Or Salem or Eugene. The bigger cities are simply going to have more of those jobs available. But how does a new person get their foot in the door? That's an important question that a new person would likely really want to know. So a great way to do it is volunteer at organizations involved with safety or emergency management. For example, even find out if you can volunteer. There's different groups, volunteer groups with police and county sheriff, and get involved in those. Find out how to get involved in some of those. And you're not only learning things, you're learning, but you can put that experience on a job resume, and just as important, you're building up relationships with someone who can give you an endorsement on your resume, a job reference, if you will. And also, there's lots of free online classes for FEMA, Federal Emergency Management Administration. And they have hundreds of online classes, all for free, that you can take, and then you get a certificate that proves that you've taken this. And these are recognized in the industry, absolutely recognized. Not just recognized, they're required. Okay, and if you step, are trying to get a job and you've already had, a dozen of these classes that you've done, that's going to be impressive. Right? That's going to show that you're motivated. And another thing you can do that's very important, there are what we call professional organizations, and where safety and emergency management professionals join for the purpose of learning more and for networking. So networking means you're building relationships with people. And one example would be the Oregon Emergency Management Association. And this, people join. It's usually free for students because they do want people to join. And you are learning things. You go to their meetings and they have conferences and whatnot. And you are learning things, but even more important, you're building relationships with people. And you hear about jobs that are opening up somewhere before anyone else does, before it's ever posted anywhere. So those are the kind of things that are vitally important, where somebody can get started, get their foot in the door of in this field of emergency management and or safety. You got to know people, just like with any job, but this is a small enough group that knowing people is going to make all the difference. And that's all I have, unless you had more questions.
No, I didn't.
All right. Well,
Thank you, Mr. Tatum.
thank you for thinking about me, and I hope this worked for you.
It did very much.
All right.
I see.
We'll see you later.
You too. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.